Welcome back everybody to Tesla Driver. Today we're going to be doing a drive from Chippenham, which is where we are now, all the way across to Bath, just to show a normal route that I do quite often. Now, I've seen a lot of comments recently saying that I'm actually against Tesla apparently, and I'm against Autopilot, and I'm here to show all the bad things about it. That's really not true. I'm obviously a massive Tesla fanboy. I had a Model S on order 5 years ago, which I ended up cancelling, and I got this instead, the Model X, when this was able to come out. And you know, I've had this for over 2 years now, and in those 2 years I've had probably 10 other cars, including a Bentley Continental GTC, a BMW i8, a Rolls-Royce Dawn. I've had so many cars. The only cars that have lasted is this Tesla and my Hummer H2. Otherwise the cars seem to change pretty quickly, and that's because I love this car. And what I wanted to show was actually me using Autopilot on a normal day. So we're heading over now to Bath. I actually need to go pick up a new MacBook Pro. I'm going on holiday, and Apple have this 14-day return policy where there is no questions asked. You can just give it straight back if you don't want it anymore. So I normally go and borrow some cool things for holiday, but I also make videos on it, so it's worthwhile for them as well. And they also do know that. I do clarify that I will be bringing it back, and they say, yep, that's our policy. So it works perfectly. Anyway, enough of that, back onto this. I would normally use Autopilot for, I don't know, probably 90% of my driving, to be totally honest, especially on roads like this. And normally this is the speed I would drive at. I would normally do 10 miles an hour, unless we're going maybe in a 30 or 40, of which I'll do 5 miles an hour, less than the speed limit. And I know, like, areas like this, it's going to have a little bit of confusion on what lane to pick. And these kind of things are fine, and hopefully it's learned from when I told it last time, which I think it has, because I go straight on here, and normally it would hug the left line, whereas instead we're actually behind this Volvo here in the right lane, which is the correct lane, and we're going to be going straight on. I'm hoping none of these cars on the left are going to cut us up, because we do get that quite a lot here. But yeah, I just wanted to show you me driving on a normal road using Autopilot like I normally do, and showing actually how little issues I actually have with the system when driving it day to day. We do normally get a little issue here because obviously the size of the road, but now that I've done this quite a lot of times, it seems a lot smoother. So you can see this is still an Autopilot. There were no lines really back there, and it just breezed through without a problem. And this is what it's like most of the time. But in the videos that I make, a lot of people don't want to see just this. They want to see it being challenged. They really want to see it being pushed. And that is what I try and do. I try and find routes that really do push the system, and then I will go and obviously do those routes more, because they make for more interesting videos. And also I'm hoping that they improve the Tesla Autopilot system by me doing those roads. But as you can see on these kind of straights, or normal kind of roads that have fairly good roads and a good pavement and good lining, it drives really well. We've got a couple of roundabouts that I am going to have to control myself, obviously, but this is how I use it day to day. So if I was driving now and not recording, I would probably come off Autopilot now, because I know it's going to muck up when we get to that Morrison's van. Whereas when I make the videos, I wouldn't pull off then, and I would just see how close we can get and what it does, because that is what's interesting. What would the car do? So I don't want people to get confused thinking that in my videos is how I drive with Autopilot all the time. It's really, really not. Through here, I just wouldn't bother putting Autopilot on if I was naturally driving, but in a video I would do. So I hope that clears up anything for people out there saying that I actually hate Tesla and I'm a Tesla hater and I'm trying to show Autopilot not working well. It's really not. I'm just trying to show it in an advanced situation of which most people wouldn't test their Autopilot system. And obviously, I'm gonna say this, don't try any of this on your own car or at home. I'm a professional driver, if you want to say that, and because I do technically get paid for it, so I am a professional driver, and it's all under controlled things. Oh, look at that lovely Model S. Oh, it didn't even wave. Come on, Tesla people. I wave at every Tesla person. I normally flash, but I wave at every Tesla person. I never get a wave back. I get really upset. Anyway, I'll normally turn Autopilot back on about here for the next little stint of the journey. Now, these roads do get a little bit bad now, and they are subject to change because there's a new housing estate that's just gone up here, which does cause some issues because they're always changing the rate. You can see we've got flashing lights up ahead already, so there's definitely some things going on. So I'm going to leave it at 35 going through here, which is roughly kind of like the speed that I like to go down here anyway. You see now, I think that car on the left thought I was going to let it go, but it's just because I'm driving slow that I've just kind of cruised through. So yes, we've got new houses here on the left, which has been causing like loads of horrible road issues. You can see the road's been patched up. Then we've got this new estate here, Pickwick Court, on the right. And the road here does get horrible. So excuse all the bumps and bangs and ugh. But then again, I think that's just normal British roads. Okay, maybe this is a little bit of a worse road. I think we could pick the speed up. We could probably go up to 40 here. It says it's a 50, but I don't think it is. No, it's a 50 at the end of the road, but the car says it's a 50 now. So again, this is just a change of speed limit that they've obviously done. And as we go through the gate, we can go up to 50. And let's put it up to 50 and get up to speed. And I'm hoping we should sit behind that Corsa up ahead, and then he can help regulate our speed a little bit, because obviously the car doesn't do that that well just yet for corners and things like that. But yeah, as you can see on my normal day-to-day trips, I really trust Autopilot, and I'm really confident in it. You know, I never use Autopilot as drive me and I'm not going to focus. It's more of a, I don't know, it engages me, I guess. I think maybe because obviously I play a lot of video games, with my work being video game related and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm not sure why it came off there. And for some reason we've gone to 23 miles an hour. I think that was maybe my fault. I think I held on to it a little bit too hard there. And while I was talking. But yeah, it makes it not feel like a game, but just a little bit more interactive, I guess, because rather than doing the normal driving, I'm controlling a computer. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's how I feel about Autopilot anyway. And I would say it makes me concentrate more, because if I was just driving at 50 down here, I'd be looking at the hills all over here. I'd be like just, you know, in my own autopilot. Whereas when I'm actually on autopilot, I'm focusing a lot more because I know that the car is driving itself. I'd like you guys to let me know as well, do you like these journeys where it just shows it working well and it just shows it in a daily environment, or do you prefer me testing it to its limits? I just want to make sure my position on Autopilot, of which I am a massive lover, user and enthusiast, I want you guys to make sure that you know that, rather than people think that I actually don't like it. So I know that we're going to start slowing down now, because we're going to be coming into a 30 in a minute, so I like to come off like pretty nice and early, to be honest. We went pretty close to the left there actually, and we're going quite close to the left again here. I think it might be because we're going downhill as well. Again, the gradient does make a little bit of difference. I'm surprised there's not an offset button. And no, I don't mean the wrapper. I mean that there's not like a button where you can offset it to be, you know, whether you want it to be further to the left, further to the right. I think I would definitely select like a 15 centimeters to the right option. That's roughly what I always think it needs, like half a ruler from school. Okay, so we're into box now, which is an old, tight little place, and I'm assuming this guy's going to pull out, so I'm just going to come off autopilot and just see what is going on. Okay, I have not a clue. I thought he was going to reverse back then, but he retried something, so I'm just going to carry on going myself. And you know, through areas like this, you really don't need to use autopilot. I know that there's a junction coming up, and we've got things like zebra crossings, so I just wouldn't use it. But the car would let me use it in this situation, and I would use it for a normal video so that you could see it in all views. That was weird. That guy was just taking a photo of a school. Very odd. Yeah, you know, you could use it here, but in day-to-day I don't, so I won't show it, because look, things like this occur, and Tesla have specifically said it's not ready for that. It's not programmed to you know, miss those kind of things anymore. Sorry, I mean, it's not yet ready. So I'm confused why people think that I think it is ready. I really know it's not. I just do it for fun. Okay, and as we come back out through this gate, I will do autopilot again, and we will keep on going. I'm actually not even going to Bath today. It's just the route that I know and I like doing autopilot on, so I thought I'd bring you down it. I'm actually on my way to Bristol to pick up my MacBook, because I go on holiday tomorrow, which is going to be really, really nice. So we're off to the Dominican Republic. It's my first time going, so I'm pretty excited. Let me know actually in the comments, has anyone been to Dominican Republic? I've got a little bit of a cold though, which is annoying me. Oh, also, huge shout out to the van store on the right. I believe they're called Redline or Raceline. I think it's Raceline. Raceline vans after this big Nissan garage. This is where I bought my Amarok, and they actually bought my i8 off me. So huge shout out to them. And if you want a cool van, Raceline, go check them out and let them know that I sent you. But anyway, these are nice slow roads. The roads are pretty good. They're pretty wide. A lot of people were saying how narrow and how thin the UK roads are. That is true. They are very narrow and very thin, but we're very used to that. So some people think it looks crazy me driving through here. Some people saying you're going 60 to 60. It's like, yeah, I am going 60 to 60. It's no big deal. But I understand, coming from a foreign place, you might look at that and go, I've got to go slower. It's just how we all drive. So I rarely actually look at the screen ahead of me as well that this little GoPro is sat on. That loads of you out there actually say that you really specifically want a camera on that so you can see what the screen's saying. But I don't actually find what that screen is referencing all that useful, to be totally honest. I would rather, instead of this camera, which I normally have up anyway, I would rather have there it showing like a mapping thing almost. You know, like I put in the thumbnails, I make those little thumbnail things and show where I think the car is seeing things it can't go and can go. I wish that actually showed that here for you rather than the digital one on the dash ahead. It's useful for just general, it can show you the cars in front, and every now and then it actually does show some useful information. I'd rather though have a more in-depth one on here. So I'm just going to slow it down to 45 actually around this corner. I think it's going to go a little bit slower because this Corsa slowed us down quite nicely. But again, as you can see, I knew there wasn't going to be an issue. Sometimes we've had issues at this corner, I'm not going to lie, just because of, you see how the verge isn't there, then this line appears. Normally there it kind of goes a little bit funny because it's like, oh my god, a line, but it's fine afterwards. That's pretty much everyone's reaction to a line. Oh my god, a line. But yeah, so we're going to come up onto a little dual carriageway in a second, and we're going to drive all the way up the dual carriageway. This is going to be a fairly long video, but I really wanted you to see my normal use case of it and how I would use it on a day-to-day basis. So we're coming into a 40, so I've just slowed it down a little bit. Again, as we're coming into Bath, the roads are getting way nicer, the lines are super obvious, and through these kind of like windy roads, the car's not having an issue because it's tracking these nicely. We're going at a nice, slow, steady speed of 36. And yeah, no real complaints at all. Really like it. I'm just trying to big it up even more because obviously I don't want people thinking I don't like it, but I use it like this every day and I'm a very happy customer. I don't have, by the way, the £2,000 extra full self-drive package. Has anybody bought that recently? And is there any justification in buying it now except for it's cheaper than potentially it's going to be later on? If that makes sense. Does it actually unlock anything? Does it change anything? I would love to know. Okay, so we've got some stuff going on here, but the car's not had an issue with that at all. And I'm just going to come off autopilot and do the roundabout myself because that's what you should do. This is only a 50 though, this dual carriageway, so I'm not going to go any faster, and we're just going to tootle down it at 50. And this is interesting, so it actually is set it at 52, whereas I've asked the autopilot system to always have it set at the absolute speed, which is 50. So I'm intrigued to see why, ow, I just hit my head on the camera. I'm intrigued to see why it is doing that. I honestly don't know. And as you can see, there's no one beside us or anything. There is actually a car to our left rear that's not showing up on the Tesla. So I'm assuming we should be able to indicate and turn left and go into this lane. And it's done that perfectly. No problems at all. Again, this is just a normal use case. And in normal conditions, I have no problems at all. Go back down to 50. I guess this van is turning off left to go to Bath. Yeah, he is. We're not going left, we're following this road round. I actually don't know why this dual carriageway is a 50. It feels very, very slow. Like, this should be 70, but then in my opinion, motorways should be 90. If I use autopilot above 70, which I do from time to time, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not embarrassed or shy to say that I do these things. It's again never had a problem. So I'm just gonna veer out again because we've got cars joining, and it did that really nicely without any major issues. You know, on motorways and stuff, I believe our speed limits are too slow. You look at the Autobahn, you look at other places with the higher speed limits and lower death rate, lower accident rates examples. I really feel that we should be upping our speed limits, but here in the UK, we're scared to do anything political or to change things, so I doubt they'll ever do that. I don't know if I should stay in this second lane. We've got a lorry ahead, so yeah, I'm gonna stay in this lane. We've got a couple of lorries ahead that maybe are going a little bit slower up this hill than 50. But I'll tell you what, if everyone was going 50 in autopilot, like everyone had an autonomous car and we were all doing these kind of roads at 50, I don't think I would have an issue, because the flow of traffic should always be consistent and there shouldn't be an issue with it. So yeah, I mean, I could drive this speed if everyone was, but that's obviously not the world we live in. So the road is now going to be closing up, and I'm intrigued to see what the car does. We've actually got this Mercedes just pulling out here as well, but that didn't seem to distract the car, and we're going up this hill just fine. I'm actually going to pull in behind all these cars because I think we come to an end in a second. As I say that, all the other cars pull out and start overtaking again. I don't know when this road comes to an end, but it looks longer. So I'm just gonna go around. Yeah, we're gonna get past way before the end. I thought this ended back there somewhere, but apparently we're still going. Ah, here we go. Okay, now it's gonna come to an end. So these arrows obviously are to tell us to get in, and I'm intrigued to see, I've never been in this side of the lane here. I'm intrigued to see what it does. I'm expecting it to kind of go a little bit funny here, but not a problem at all. Look at that, merged lovely, and we're back onto single lane roads without an issue, with some absolutely glorious views. And you know, like I said before, if I wasn't on autopilot, I probably would be looking at those views, whereas now I'm on autopilot, I've got the two lines, I feel pretty confident. It allows me just to have another little look out and not worry quite as much that I might veer off into something, and you can look at the views, which is really, really nice. Now we're going to continue this drive on until we get to the motorway. So I'm actually planning to try and get onto the M4 from over here, which I'm pretty sure you can do. I just can't quite remember the route from here to get onto the M4. So we're going to get onto the M4 and we're going to end the video there. I'm actually going to do another video on the M4 though, that will come out later, showing how it is in motorway driving. But we've got some serious S-bends here that you can see it trying to tackle. Did that first one absolutely fine. This second one, not a problem at all. It slowed us down to 35. How far are we from the car behind? 3 car lengths behind, which I think's a good distance. But some people said 3 car lengths wasn't even far enough away. But you compare that to what the majority of other cars do, not saying that a majority makes it correct, but 3 car lengths away, that's a pretty good distance, in my opinion. I feel pretty confident at 3 car lengths away. Look at this. This is doing these winding roads like a champion. And it's odd because it's moments like this that you almost feel you've got full autonomy. And I understand where people can get confused about this. Okay, we're slowing down. We're going up a hill, going up a gradient. We're not going on the cat's eyes. You would obviously hear it and feel it. So we definitely didn't go over that line. We didn't go over a left line. And we've been able to do that really well. This is almost such a boring drive because it's so good. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like the video is so dull because it's doing exactly what you expect it to do. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was trying to find where the M4 was. So the M4 is going to be up here. So we want to go to about there. Now, I don't have any of that navigational stuff yet in my software, where it will navigate for me to directions and stuff, so I can't test any of that out, but at least I have this up so I can see where I'm going. We've got 4 miles left, which is about another 7 minutes of recording, apparently. But these roads are quite fun to go down and see. This might even be a part 2 video. I might do this over 2 parts over the weekend, just because there's so much content here to be had. Really nice down here, and this is a really nice test road. I never thought about using this as a test road for the Tesla, because it did it always so well. Now, I've got to say, I am a stickler for putting my hands on my knees. I do sometimes do that, and I do sometimes touch it at the back. It's very hard to hold on and do it, because it just feels unnatural, whereas on your knees feels ready. That feels like ready to grab, but there, you know, your reaction time is so quick. It's just like pop, you're there. So I don't mind putting my hands on my knees. I'll put my thumbs on it if that makes some people happier, where it says you must touch your wheel at all times. Or if I touch it with a knee and a thumb. There you go. Coming into a 40 now, so I'm just going to slow it down, even though it's already slowed down. And I think, yeah, we're coming up to a little bit of traffic here, and we've got a roundabout, and then we're over to the M4. So there we have it, guys. That is the kind of perfect use case of Autopilot. That's exactly what I use Autopilot like right now. Does it feel good? It feels great. Did we have any issues? No, I don't think we even had one. Is it ready for mass market? No, sure not. Is it full self-driving? No. Do you have to keep your eyes on? Yes, blah, blah, blah. But this is what it is like all the time that I'm not recording. It works great and it's fine, but I'm obviously not testing any boundaries here. And that is what Tesla Driver is all about. It's just about testing those boundaries and such. So I'm going to pull it off Autopilot here for this roundabout, just because obviously you shouldn't do. I would love to do a video where I find like an old dead roundabout where nobody else is, and just try and get it to go around the roundabout and stuff. So if you'd like to see things like that, let me know. I need to find some safe places to do them, because I'm not doing anything like that unless I have like full clearance and it is a safe place. But I do have some other really cool ideas for videos coming out soon that I will hopefully show you guys, and hopefully you will enjoy. But anyway, there is a real use case of Autopilot. I hope you enjoyed the video. Not too much happened in these videos, but that was the whole point. It just worked, and it worked really, really well. So until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, drive safe.